Well, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mansa, and in today's video, it's going to be a fun one. I'm going to be using a box cake mix, a white cake mix, to make a beautiful and colorful Juneteenth cake. Yes, I just like to play with the colors, and the outcome was just not beautiful, but also very delicious. So let's get started. First of all, y'all, I want to apologize for my voice. As I'm currently filming this video, I am feeling sick, but I am getting better. So we're going to start off with my Duncan Hines Classic White. This is a white cake mix, and this cake mix right here, guys, it is really delicate but so delicious. So I'm going to be using one 3.4 ounce pack of instant jello pudding mix, and this is the French vanilla. And those are my two dry ingredients. Of course, I always want to start with sifting the cake mix because I always find it lumpy. So this helps to aerate the cake, get rid of any lumps, and just make your mixing process a lot easier. That way you will not over mixing. So if this is your first time on this channel, you are absolutely welcome. Again, my name is Mansa. I do have a lot of quick videos, recipes that are ideal for just busy people like me. So if that's up your alley, go ahead and hit on the subscribe button. I would love to have you as part of the Mansa team. So I'm going to head and add in my pudding mix into my sifted cake mix and just going in with a whisk to combine those. It's super easy. Those are only dry ingredients, and once we get that incorporated, we're gonna put it aside and move on to wet ingredients. So in a separate bowl, we're going to start off with wet ingredients. Now, of course, I am not following the recipe on the back of the box. It does request for half a cup of vegetable oil, but I am using half a cup of unsalted Kerrygold butter. This right here adds more flavor and a lot of different texture to the cake. Make sure that you scrape your bowl and get all that butter nice there. It is melted and it's at room temperature. But of course, I'm going to bump it up with 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. The oil helps to keep this cake super moist even when it's refrigerated. So it's really important. Next, it does request for 1 cup of water, but y'all know I never ever add water to my cake mixes. So today I am opting for some heavy whipping cream. I always do heavy whipping cream whenever I'm working with a white cake mix, just because it's lighter and makes it really more airy, and it pairs beautifully with the eggs. So now here I am adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I am adding half a teaspoon of almond extract. I love this combination. For me, it is delicious. You don't need to go too heavy with the almond extract. Just half of that teaspoon is enough. Now go ahead and mix those wet ingredients. You're going to see it is going to combine super easy. It's going to be really creamy from the heavy whipping cream. So just put that aside. And then here I have 4 egg whites. The recipe did call for 3 egg whites, but I added an extra one to add more richness. And also remember, I added the pudding mix. So I added 4 egg whites in here at room temperature. Now I'm going in with my hand mixer to beat these egg whites until they're light and fluffy and foamy. What this is going to do is help a cake to be super light and airy, just like a typical homemade white cake. So this process took about 5 to 7 minutes. Now remember, each mixer is different, and if you're not using a mixer and using a whisk, it would take even longer. And once I get that in, I'll add in the rest of my wet ingredients in there and just beat it lightly just to incorporate them. Now, to make my life easy, I always like to lay out all my ingredients and let them get to room temperature. These tips are really important, which brings me to today's sponsors of this video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes and members across 150 countries who come together like you and I to find inspiration and take the next bold step in their creative journey. Look, we're all busy people, and our day to day is just filled with task, and just endless to-do list. So prioritize your self-care and well-being by using Skillshare as a way to invest in yourself, unwind, relax, and learn in a very creative environment. So you anything that you're trying to learn, whether it's graphic design, lifestyle. Talking about lifestyle, I've been loving this class by Alex Gabriel, who is a French chef and also is a YouTuber like me. And he just talks about the good things that he loves about cooking. And the most thing I love about him is that he goes for what he really wants. So I took this class, Cooking Like a Chef, and he shares 5 fundamental tips. He talks about thinking like a chef. We are all home chefs when you think about it, because we cook for ourselves and all of that. He talks about gathering your ingredients, which is what I just mentioned. Especially if you're baking, you want to measure your stuff out, get them at room temperature. Talking about heat, we all know that different food heats up and cooks at different points. Even our cooking stuff is different. Creativity, using leftovers to create something beautiful and dynamic. So, the first 1,000 people to click on my link will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. So, thank you again, Skillshare, for sponsoring that part of the video. Now, back to our recipe. It is now time to combine our dry and wet ingredients. And y'all, those wet ingredients are so smooth. So, yeah, I just put everything in there, and now it is time to mix with my hand mixer. Now you want to go in easy. The first 30 seconds, just beat it on low to medium speed, and then make sure that you're scraping the sides of your bowl with a spatula or a wooden spoon. And then I would bump up my speed and beat it for an additional 2 minutes. Now this is just me following the instructions on the back of the box. Right? I know I never do that, but this part I trust Duncan Hines on that one. I actually do. Now, since this is going to be a colored cake, it is now time to divide our batter. And I'm going to be using my Juneteenth colors, which is green, red, and black. You can also add yellow if you want, but I'm saving that for later. So just try and divide your batter into 3 parts. You don't really have to measure or anything. I just eyeballed it and just scooped them into 3 parts, and then I would go in with my colors. So for my non-American viewers, Juneteenth is now a federal holiday where we get to, commemorate emancipation of enslaved African Americans and just African American Black culture in particular. So I have just added my black food color, and don't worry, the food color has no taste to it, so it does not alter this recipe at all. It just adds that fun color to it. Okay, I just got the Great Value brand from Walmart. That's all I use, and I just go ahead and mix all of my colors in just to get it nice and vibrant. And now I am using a 9-inch loaf pan. This is actually really deep, and I'm going to spray that with some Pam baking spray. It already contains flour in it, so if you don't have that, just lightly go in with some butter and coat it with flour, and make sure that you're dusting off the excess flour off of your pan. So now just go ahead and do the colors. Now this part, make it totally yours. You can do it in little scoops here and there. You could just dump them in and try to swirl it with the tip of a spatula or a spoon. Just do you. Make it fun. If you want to swirl it, you can swirl it. Just make sure that you don't mix it too much. You don't want the colors to just blend in and not look like you're trying to do something. So yeah, once I get that in, I'm going to put it in the oven. Now this took about 50 to 55 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and make a very simple glaze. Here I have 2 cups of powdered sugar that I already sifted. That's what we got right here. And to that, I am going to be adding some whole milk. Now, you can use any milk of your choice, but I always like to use whole milk. Now, with this, I like to start off with 2 tablespoons, but I always end up with 3 tablespoons because 2 tablespoons is just too thick. You can't even do much with it. And I would also add 1/4 a teaspoon of vanilla and almond extract. Just a little bit goes a long way because this is just glaze. You don't want to put too much extract. It's going to be bitter and nasty. You will not like it. So go ahead and mix all of those in. And here is my last tablespoon, which makes it 3 tablespoons, and it's the right consistency for me. Now this is when I go in and add my yellow food coloring. I wanted it to be yellow so it could be nice and fun, and it would just blend in with the green, black, and red that I have going on in the cake. It's really fun. Now you don't have to do this part. You could just leave your glaze white. The cake is already colorful, but I just wanted that extra color on there, and it was just perfect and so beautiful and so much fun. Perfect for like a potluck or just a little family gathering. In the meantime, my cake is out of the oven, nice and fresh and hot. As you can see, the colors are still very much intact, and I love that for me. Now, you need to let this sit and rest in this pan for at least 20 minutes before you flip them over and let them cool down to room temperature. Now, here is my cake. It has already cooled down to room temperature, and I already went up to cut off the top part because I found it was a little too crispy for me, and I didn't want to put the glaze on that. So now this is our glaze. You want to make sure this cake is completely cool. Like I said, this is a very delicate cake. The white cake makes it super, super soft, so you don't want to mess it up. So let it cool down all the way, and then just go ahead and drizzle and drazzle your glaze all over this cake. Make it as thick as possible so that it just stays on the top and droops gently towards the sides. I love that for me, and y'all, you know, this process is so satisfying for me. So once you get that glaze all over the cake, you want to let it sit and get hard. You really want that glaze to harden up a little bit before you cut it. So I usually will let mine sit for at least 10 minutes before I cut into it. It just makes less mess and it looks prettier. So just go ahead and slice into our cake. Now you can see that bounce in there. It is super, super soft. No worries about that. And it is so delicious. It is actually really delicious. And the colors, yo, I was so happy with that swirl going on. The colors were beautiful. The perfect Juneteenth cake. You can make this cake anytime, any day. Enjoy it with your friends and family. And until I catch you guys in my next video, y'all stay safe. I love you all. Bye.